The Estate of Unrest. In this tale, we walk the broken stones of once holy ground. We follow the echoes of darkness, twisted by betrayal and silenced by curses. Let us return to Fadeaway, to the year 2007, when the second age of echoes revealed this haunted place once more. This is not just a dungeon, this is a tragedy, and you're here to witness it. Long ago, a noble family left everything behind. Nicodemus Quailborn, a priest of Quailus, and a composer of gentle songs, sailed across the sea, hoping to start anew in a quiet corner of Fadeaway. He brought with him his beloved wife, Jessa, and she was with child. But the voyage proved cruel. Sickness crept through the ship, and in its wake, Lady Jessa perished only hours after giving birth to a healthy daughter. Her husband named the child Jessa, in memory of the mother she would never know. With grief and hope in equal measure, Nicodemus continued on, and in the thousand reaches of Butcher Block Mountains, he built a home. He buried Lady Jessa in consecrated ground, and raised a white gazebo over her grave, blessing it in the name of Quailus. He called the place the Estate of Rest, a sanctuary for the weary, of refuge for the wounded. And so it became. The younger Jessa grew up with grace, raised by her father and the two faithful retainers, Hamstrow and Riley, and protected always by the goddess of peace. In time, she met a dwarf named Kyle Ruxif, a kind soul of Caladim, and two fell in love and soon married. The mansion rejoiced, a nursery was prepared, and Nicodemus, overjoyed to become a grandfather, began composing a lullaby for the child. He would never finish it, for on one moonless night, while Kyle was away, Governor Ruxif returned, Kyle's brother, fueled by drink, jealous, and rage. He crept through the estate and butchered everyone inside. Servants, guests, Jessa, her unborn child. The last to die was Nicodemus himself. He stood in vigil that night in the chapel above the conservatory. Perhaps he cried out, perhaps Quailus heard. For as Garanos struck him down, the goddess appeared, and she cursed the murderer. Garanos' soul would never live, never rest, never be forgiven. He dropped dead on the chapel floor. Someone buried the victims behind the mansion, but there were no blessings. The ground was already cursed. Kyle never made it back in life, but in death his ghost still stands in the yard, trying even now to reach Jessa, watching, waiting, and he is not the only one. The courtyard and the echoes. Centuries have passed since that night, but the estate never healed. The light of Quailus faded, and the grounds turned cold. Fog now gleamed to the twisted edges. The stone walls are slick with rot, and the once beautiful garden lies silent, watched only by the restless dead. Travelers speak of ghostly shapes among the gravestones, of windless nights pierced by whispers, and of a pale figure standing a ways beneath the gazebo. Kyle Ruxif the would-be father. He never made it home, but his soul refused to leave. Again and again, he tries to reach the grave of Jessa, but the curs will not allow it. Skeletal hands burst from the soil, restless bones clawed at him from beneath. He cannot fight, he cannot scream, he can only reach again and again for the wife and the child he lost. Some say if you stand with him, if you shield his ghost from the rising dead, he will thank you. Others say he fades before he can speak, but his hammer remains a spectral relic, left behind for those brave enough to lift it. Near the gazebo, the grave still stands, simple, white, quiet. The soul of Jessa can sometimes be heard weeping there. Beyond the yard, two great edge mazes guard the path into the house, overgrown now, spiked with thorns and crawling with beetles. It is said that hidden within, the keys to the manor door still lie, half in the east, half in the west. But beware, for those who wander too long in the maze may never find their way back. The house awaits. Inside the manor's walls, the door groaned as they opened. Behind them, silence. The first hall is cold, colder than the fog outside. Candles still burn, but cast no warmth, and the walls seem to listen. This was once a place of comfort. The main floor held kitchens, salons, and parlors. Laughter echoed here, music played here. Now, the smells of mold and soot. Chairs lie overturned, cabinets are smashed open, and blood, old and black, stains the floorboards. Some say the house still remembers its last feast. In the kitchen, something awaits, not a creature, but a memory. If one searches the cupboards, you'll find ruined vegetables, spoiled meats, forgotten herbs, and a single recipe. The soothing supper, a dish once prepared for anxious children. The cook is long dead, but if one dares to follow the recipe and place the meal into the old dumbwaiter, the manor listens and answers. In the lounge above, guests begin to stir, ghostly figures seated at long-forgotten tables, whispering, laughing. They do not belong. When their illusion fades, the bartender appears. He was not kind in life. In death, he's worse. Some called him the sadistic bartender, a cruel soul who refused to live, clinging to the rituals of drink and violence. He will not serve, he will fight. And when he's defeated, his final gesture is strange. The single drink is left behind, pale blue shimmering. When poured upon the ghostly flames guarding the back door, they vanish, and a key clings softly to the door. The manor, it seems, still remembers how to open itself, if only to those who know its rights. The game room and the dollar store. At the rear of the manor lies a room once meant for joy, a game room. Within, a massive chessboard dominates the floor. Its squares worn, but still marked. The pieces, however, are missing, scattered across the estate, £4 lies hidden in fountains, graves, and even the bartender's own bar. When returned to the board, a sound is heard, a grinding, a release, and then a mad tinkerer bursts into view. His name is lost, but his laughter remains. They say they once served the Quellborns as a clockmaker or a fool. Now his ghost dances with tools and sparks, shouting riddles as he attacks. When he is defeated, 2 rusted bolts are left behind. Upstairs, the stairwell levers have been broken for years, but with the bolts reattached and the levers pulled in unison, the manor groans again. A passage opens, and with it, the past. On the 2nd floor, the air is heavier. This was the family's heart. Bedrooms line the halls, each still bearing traces of lives once lived within. Toys left on the shelves, books frozen mid-read, flowers dried but never discarded. Yet one room remains locked, Jessa's. The door is sealed, but not by key, but by grief. Only one thing can open it, the spectral hammer. Once carried by her husband, with a single strike, the door gives way, and inside, the ghost of Jessa waits. He's calm and sad, still dressed in the memory of her wedding gown. She remembers everything, the love, the child, the terror. But above all, she remembers her locket. It was buried with her body beneath the gazebo. If returned, she says she can rest, and if she can rest, so too many others. The Nursery and the Unfinished Lullaby. Beyond the hallway lies a door unlike the others. Its wood is splintered, swollen, as if it has spent centuries refusing to open. This is the nursery, the room prepared for a child who never lived long enough to enter it. When the key is turned, the lock clicks softly, almost regretful. Inside, the air is still. Toys lie where they were placed so long ago. A cradle sits in the corner, gently swaying, though no wind touches it. And in the center of the room stands a child, pale, quiet, watching. It does not speak, but the dolls do. One by one, the little wooden Billy dolls begin to twitch. Their painted eyes crack, their limbs jerk unnaturally, and suddenly the nursery erupts in motion. The dolls crow, they leap, they scream. A twisted voice rises from within them, the voice of something that should never have been given from. When the last puppet is shattered, the spirit known as Billy reveals himself, a small figure, a terrible shadow, a remnant of fear given childish shape. And when he falls, the nursery grows quiet again. In the silence, something glitters on the bookshelf. A folded page, yellowed with age, the incomplete hymn of tranquility. The lullaby Nicodemus wrote, but never finished. Now the manor asks you to finish it for him. Downstairs, in a lonely music room, an old piano waits. Keys cracked, strings trembling with memory. When the lullaby is placed upon its stand, the manor listens once more. Soft notes rise through the halls, gentle, pure, and the house opens its last secret. The hidden stair and the defiled chapel. When the final note fades, the manor seems to breathe. A soft tremor runs beneath the floorboards, a sound of old wood remembering something gentle. Then, somewhere behind the piano, a lock releases. A panel shifts open, revealing a narrow stair spiraling upward into darkness. The place was never meant for guests. The steps creak underfoot, dust rising with every breath you take. At the top stands a door carved with symbols of serenity, the mark of Quileus, or what remains of it. But what the door swings open, peace is nowhere to be found. This is the chapel. Once Nicodemus prayed here. Once hymns rose gently through the rafter. Once this room blessed every soul in the state. But now rot creeps along the altar. The air tastes of iron, and upon the desecrated floor stands a robed figure, a priest of fear. Drawn to the mansion's sorrow, he came to twist it further, to torment the wandering dead, and to claim its chapel in the name of the faithless. He is not part of Gavino's curse. He is something worse. He is what happens when cruelty founds a place already broken. His chant thickens the air, shadows gather at his feet, and as he raises his staff, the manor seems to recoil. This is no longer Nicodemus' sanctuary. It has become a throne of fear. The priest must fall. Only then can the house begin to remember what peace once felt like. The descent and the scene beneath. When the priest of fear falls, the chapel exhales, a slow, trembling release. From his robes, something rolls across the stone, a symbol carved in the shape of the faceless god. It does not belong here, yet the manor accepts it. When brought to the study downstairs, the bookshelves shift, growing as if awakening from the century of sleep. Behind them waits a stairwell, descending into the dark beneath the estate. This is where the curse lives. The air grows heavy with each step. Damp stone, rusted chains, and the faint smell of iron that never truly fades. Those halls were not built for living men. They were shaped by fear, molded by grief, and stained by acts no mind should carry. In the torture chamber, the walls seem to breathe. Claw marks scar the stone, and from the corners something crawls into form. Masses of torn flesh that remember suffering more than they remember being human. Deeper still, a figure hovers above a pool of congealed blood, a hag of rot, her skin swelling and reforming with every breath. She shackles without locks, and when she is defeated, the blood itself stirs. A homogoblin rises, a creature made entirely of the manor's grief, bound by the same curse that traps every soul within those walls. No words, no memories, only hunger. But even this is not the heart of unrest that lies further in a chamber where the air feels heavier than stone and colder than any grave, bones rest upon a broken slab. Small bones, large bones, pieces of the monster made from a man. Governor Ruxif, cursed by the goddess he defiled, trapped in the mansion he destroyed, and torn apart by centuries of madness. His soul shattered long ago, and the shards wander still. They do not speak, they only attack. Hollow echoes of the night, he ended the Quailborn line. When each shard is defeated, it leaves behind a bone, a fragment of Garanel that still remembers its sin. Only when all pieces are gathered and laid upon the slab does the chamber stir. The bones grind, ash pulls inward, and the thing that was Garanel rises from the stone with a scream that shakes the hall. He remembers everything now, the envy, the rage, the murders, and the curse that chained him to this house forever. There is no redemption left in him, only the final echo of violence that began centuries ago. This is the last battle the manor demands, and when Garanel falls, truly falls, the estate grows quiet for the first time in a very, very long while. The quiet after, and the flame that remains. When Garanel's final scream fades into the stone, a deep stillness settles over the chamber. The air softens, not warm but no longer hostile. One by one, the spirits of the Quailborn family appear. Jessa, her hands folded gently at her waist. Kyle, no longer straining against the curse that bound him. And Nicodemus, standing tall once more, not as a victim, but as the guardian he always wished to be. The gratitude in their faint smiles is older than words. As their forms fade, the chamber grows quiet again, the quiet that feels earned. You leave the estate behind through the same broken halls you entered. Nothing has changed. The walls are still cracked. The fog still clings to the gardens. The manor still stands as a monument to sorrow. But something lingers in the air. A different weight. Not hope, not quiet, but acknowledgement. Days later, a letter arrives. No signature, no seal. Only a single line written in a hand you do not recognize. Thank you for giving us the chance to rest. And beneath it, but be wary. Not all spirits choose to live. You think the chamber below the manor, of the slab where Garanel fell, of the skull left behind, and though you are certain the last of the cursed flame had died with him. Some nights, when the wind is cold, you could swear you still see it flicker.